thank, and it's become sort of a mutual admiration, is our good friend Joey. This particular project, this leg, this unit of the Institute's work as an arm of Azrieli was Joey's dream. I remember about 4 or 5 years ago when he had this idea about people going back to schools and getting outside of New York and energizing the communities and making change and so forth. And I think you were the first fellow, right? On his own, he created a Give Back project. And impatient and energetic and passionate, and this is only one portion of the result of what is growing and advancing. We have, Baruch Hashem, 18 fellows this year, and people banging down the doors. We had to do all sorts of manipulations in order to be able to expand the tent, and along with the fellows, whom I thank and of whom I take enormous pride, the outstanding group of mentors and supervisors that we've gathered with us, which allows us to partner with a whole host of other organizations and communities and schools, and of course the Azrieli faculty, who are the backbone of virtually everything that happens here, and who make me look good every week. That's really the trick. Find the right people, supervisors, fellows, faculty, and then be intelligent enough to get out of the way and let them do their job, which is perhaps the greatest of all challenges. It's wonderful. It's exciting. It's marvelous. Joey has given me, is this something that is being circulated?
We will share it with everybody. Sure.
We have representation from Texas and from California and from as far away as Connecticut, Chicago, Boston, Seattle, Philadelphia, Phoenix, and on and on and on. It's really San Diego, Atlanta, Seattle. It's I think unprecedented. I cannot think of any instance in which this type of outreach and this type of partnering, this type of collaboration has gone on now for 2-3 years, and with a bullet counting, with external funding and support, generously supported by the Legacy Foundation, Legacy Heritage Foundation, who saw the wisdom in all of this, and to whom we have to extend our deep gratitude and thanks. And at the same time partnering with a formal academic institution as well as with the variety of different schools that you all represent. It's fantastic. I don't have to tell you, you are part of it. You have had the opportunity. You are very much part of what makes all of this run. We are immensely proud. Give yourselves a round of applause, please. At the Azrieli Graduate School, we are committed to a whole host of things that speak to you directly. We're committed to the idea that Jewish education is the single most important function that the Jewish community performs. Bar none. Every shred of data, every research undertaking supports the idea that far and away the key to Jewish identification, affiliation into the next generation is, in fact, not just Jewish education, but specifically full-time, intensive day school education. Day schools, finally, I suppose the world has recognized, the Jewish world, the funding world, the philanthropic world, the Federation world has recognized that this is a key to our survival, something that we have known years and years. And you guys are the key. You guys are on the front line. We're very proud to see that happen. But we see it here in a variety of different contexts. We have an active master's program with about 160 or 170 students here in Israel, across the street in the Beis Medrash. I know a number of you have gone through that process and are veterans here at Yeshiva, and also Azrieli alums. We have an outstanding doctoral program of which I take immense pride. This year we defended 12, Rona Novik, the director of our doctoral program, is not here, but we had 12 doctoral defenses this year, which is, I think, 4 times more than we typically anticipate, in a whole host of research areas, really magnificent work in a world, Jewish education, that has not always been known for its research and advanced study. And in that event, we are also proud to be placing the administrators and school leaders alongside the frontline teachers that you all represent. And as you well know, the third link, the third prop in the Azrieli Graduate School is our newest and perhaps our most exciting, and that's the Institute for University School Partnership, of which this is one of several exciting projects. and the Institute, directed by Dr. Scott Goldberg, who is on his way to Israel, or
In
has already
Israel
landed.
now,
There.
yeah.
Good, Baruch Hashem, that's good to hear. Along with Billy Miller and the whole staff who are in support and under whose rubric much of Joey's activities take place, is our portal, our arm into the variety of communities. One of the raps on Yeshiva University generally and on the Azrieli Graduate School a few years ago is that we were terribly New York-centric, which is something I think they say about Jews in the East Coast anyway, that we have this terribly limited sense that the world begins and ends within the Dalet Amos of the New York metropolitan area. And you have taught us that there is active, vibrant, successful Jewish life way outside these limits. And we'd like to partner and continue partnering with you, both in placing bright new graduates, in working with you to advance the programs and projects of your schools and your communities. And dare I say, we hope, as a result of a very, very new and exciting external funding from your side, the left coast is what it's called, the Jim Joseph Foundation, which is I think in San Francisco, Northern California, that is, how shall I say, encouraging us, and that's a very gentle term, to invest heavily in distance learning projects. We've already done non-credit, non-degree bearing distance learning projects. I think some of you have attended our webinars and done some of the online programs and activities, and I can project probably within the next 12 to 18 months that we will be offering a master's degree through some mix of residential and distance learning projects with some fabulous new technologies way beyond anything that I had anticipated. And I know that there is also interest, and perhaps some of you, where you sit as supervisors and leaders, the mentors here, representing an interest in offering the doctoral program in some sort of a... I am committed to the idea that if we do this, we're going to do it right, that we're going to do it at high quality, that's going to be rigorous. We owe you that. You deserve nothing less. And I will add, even as we are thinking about these new initiatives, that there are some major universities that are moving away from, receding from distance learning projects, precisely because it's very difficult to maintain the kind of high quality to which we are committed. And that's the second part of all of this. In addition to Jewish education being the most important function the Jewish community undertakes as part of our requirement, our Batzis Torah, nothing less than that. At the same time, we also see Jewish education as a profession that needs to be professionalized, that in many ways is, how shall I say, almost primitive by comparison to many other fields, whose status and whose compensation and whose support and whose opportunities for advancement and opportunities for professional development all have to be put into place as we would expect in any other profession. If this is the most important thing we do, then how could it be that we have been so neglectful in providing what comes along as a given in almost every other profession? I have no doubt that everybody sitting here could have succeeded in law, in medicine, in finance, in media, in communications, in a whole host of different fields. I congratulate you for giving back. I congratulate you for seeing to it that we have a Jewish future. I congratulate you for the delayed gratification that comes along with the idea that you're investing your success, your talent, in the well-being of the Jewish community. It's something that we don't say often enough. So we see Jewish education as a profession, and that's all part of what's happening here. We see Jewish education as a field of research and a field of study, something that very rarely gets done. And as I say, I'm proud of both our doctoral graduates as well as the research that our faculty undertakes. Dr. Glanz came to us already with a healthy list of publications active in the general field of education, the AERA, and a variety of different curricular programs. Dr. Sean, who was already well known as a Holocaust scholar, a Holocaust educator at the preeminent institutions all over the world. We're proud of the fact that we can be publishing, that we can be lecturing, and we can be moving with our colleagues at other university campuses, and we'd like to encourage you to think in those terms as well. The mentors as well as the students. It's a field of research. But perhaps most of all, and I step out of my context here by speaking personally, it's all too easy to get caught up in the professionalism, important as it is. It's all too easy to be talking about how one teaches and not enough about what one teaches. You are mechanchem at base, wherever you sit. You have the future of children and their families and their communities, the future of the Jewish world in your hands, in your classes. Perhaps at the same time that we don't tell you how important you are, we don't tell you often enough how valuable you are, I'd like to urge you to tell your students as well. That without them, there's no point, and there's no purpose. And that sometimes kids need to hear as well how important and how valuable they are. We have a lot of nasty people, sociologists, demographers, people like myself, who have written some terrible things about the young Jewish generation, and some of you are not too far removed from that young Jewish generation. They're narcissistic. They care very little for their future, for their culture. They will trade in a whole lifetime of tradition for game gear and an iPad.